What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to Ben Travels TV. And coming up next, we head to Cigar City, also known as Ybor City in Tampa, Florida, as we give you guys a full tour on the museum and also a historical lesson on cigars at J.C. Newman Cigar Company. We also head over to La Segunda Central Bakery for some good pastries. You guys gotta stay tuned. All right, you guys, welcome back to my channel. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell so you get notified every time we drop a new video. All right, we are in Tampa, Florida, and we are rolling out a multi-video series giving you guys a complete tour of the historic Ybor City. All right, and we're going to start off first at La Segunda Central Bakery located in Ybor City. All right, and this has been open since 1915. And they've been serving fresh Cuban bread made in-house for over 100 years using the same hand-baked process and traditional recipes to ensure a taste and texture that can't be duplicated. You can see there the origination of the Cubano right here in Tampa, Florida, going back to the late 1800s into the early 1900s. All right, and they serve fresh pastries, they serve coffee as well. And today I'm going to pick up myself an espresso. I'm also going to have the croquetas, and I'm also going to have the pastelito, guava, and cheese. I've done a video here before. You guys can just go on the homepage of my channel and search Ybor City, La Segunda Central, best Cuban sandwich in Florida. All right, I gave my review on the Cubano. If you guys want to know more about that, go check it out. But right now I'm going to go outside the bakery. I just picked up my order, and let's try out the food.
We're gonna try these first. Every little piece. Fire.
All right, now time for my second review of La Segunda Central Bakery. The croquetas, I gotta give a 2 out of 10. They were not that great. They are a appetizing pastry that Cubans love, that have grounded ham, has breadcrumbs, and it is deep fried. The guava and cheese pastry, 9 out of 10. Absolutely delicious, crunchy, and hot. All right, now we are in Ybor City, and we're gonna jump into the history of J.C. Newman Cigar Company Museum and Factory Store. We're gonna give you guys a full tour. Stay with me now. We're gonna roll out about 4 or 5 videos and give you guys a complete tour of Ybor City. All right, and we can't start the tour of this factory without mentioning Vicente Martinez Ybor, the founding father of Ybor City. He concluded that Tampa's climate, their port, and rail lines made it the ideal place to roll cigars. In 1885, he purchased the land now known as Ybor City and relocated his cigar factory from Key West, Florida. So Vicente Martinez Ybor originally came from Cuba, then went to Key West, and then now Tampa. Many other cigar makers quickly followed, and Ybor City became internationally known as the fine cigar capital of the world and cigar city. Okay, at its peak, Tampa was home to more than 150 large cigar factories that rolled more than 500 million cigars by hand each year. Today, J.C. Newman's El Reloj factory is the last operating cigar factory in Ybor City. El Reloj, when it opened, as you can see, in 1910, was the largest cigar factory in the world. El Reloj was designed to accommodate 1,000 cigar rollers who would hand roll more than 250,000 cigars per day. The factory's name, which is clock in Spanish, comes from its iconic clock tower. All right, we're going to get into a little more history on J.C. Newman Cigar Company, how he took it over, who he took it over from, who is the original owner of this factory. It's 3 levels, guys. So at the very bottom, they have the museum and factory store. Second level, they have the theater and special events. And on the 3rd floor, they have handmade cigar factory. And they have their cigar rolling machines as well. But let's start the tour. This building is from 1910. Sanchez and Haya Real Estate Company, 1910. All right, so before we jump into more on the history of J.C. Newman, as we're on the 1st floor of the museum and the cigar store, check out these containers. All right, they are humidors. It's a storage container that's designed to help keep and maintain a cigar's humidity level. When cigars are too dry, they can lose their alluring aroma and flavor. This is because the tobacco leaves naturally expand and contract based on the humidity of air levels. All right, in general, just a day or two outside of a humidor can have tragic results for a cigar. So it is crucial to have regular cigar maintenance and consistently humidified space that is optimized specifically for cigars. If a cigar does dry out, most of the time you can restore it. So cigar humidors can make a fine cigar a great cigar, especially when maintained in the proper conditions. Most cigar aficionados will swear that solid Spanish cedar cigar boxes are the best around, and that it is worth paying the premium above getting boxes that are only lined in Spanish cedar. So it is essential to season your humidor, calibrate the hygrometer, and correctly set the humidity levels And if done correctly, your cigars could last up to 5 years. If done incorrectly, you can risk causing your cigars to deteriorate before you can use them. Also, I would say premium cigars will last sometime between about a week or two and forever, right? If properly stored, a cigar can last decades and still be ready to light and enjoy. And as you guys saw in the last humidor, those were Cuesta Rey cigars. All right, the Cuesta Rey brand is world renowned. And in 1884, a young Spanish immigrant, Angel La Madrid Cuesta, opened his first cigar factory and soon earned a reputation as one of the greatest handmade cigar craftsmen of his day. He was joined a few years later by Peregrino Rey, forming the world renowned Cuesta Rey premium quality cigars. All right, so it was a brand of handmade cigars that was founded in 1884. Cuesta, who was a Spaniard and had apprenticed in cigar making in Cuba before he met Rey. They formed the company in the Ybor City District, Cigar City of Tampa, Florida, to make clear Havana cigars made in the United States using imported Cuban tobacco, as well as making their own brands. They made cigars for other companies such as Nat Sherman. In 1958, Carl Cuesta, Angel's son, sold the company to the J.C. Newman Cigar Company, and since the 1980s, they have been produced in the Dominican Republic by Tabacalera A Fuente. All right, let's finish the tour and we'll get into J.C. Newman next. All right, now on to J.C. Newman Cigar Company and its origins. It's located at 2701 North 16th Street in Tampa, Florida, in the Ybor City neighborhood. And the original owner was E. Regensburg and Sons Company. The origin of E. Regensburg and Sons Company began in Frankfurt, Germany, where Edward Regensburg learned about the cigar industry in America and immigrated to New York City with his family in 1876. And 11 years later, he established his company and began making hand-rolled cigars there in New York. Later on, he would want to get a bigger factory and more production, so he relocated his company to Tampa, all right, and reached out to a New York architect, S.S. Schwartz, in 1910, and there you have it, El Reloj. All right, so let's jump into J.C. Newman. He was also an immigrant, born in Austria-Hungary in 1875. Julius Caesar J.C. Newman immigrated to the United States in search of the American dream. His mother paid a cigar maker $3 per month to teach J.C. the art of hand-rolling cigars. After he was laid off in a severe recession, J.C. decided to start his own business and founded the J.C. Newman Cigar Company in Cleveland, Ohio in 1895. 4 generations and more than 125 plus years later, J.C. Newman is the oldest family-owned premium cigar maker in America. Today, the company is run by J.C.'s grandsons and great-grandsons. J.C. Newman handcrafts many of the world's finest cigars at its El Reloj factory in Tampa, as its Pensa factory in Nicaragua, and with its partners in the Dominican Republic. J.C. Newman bought El Reloj when it relocated its company to Tampa in 1954. Today, El Reloj is recognized in the National Registry of Historic Places as a contributing building to the Ybor City National Historic Landmark District. All right, more than a century after it was built, El Reloj still serves its original purpose as a working cigar factory. All right. And this is what is beautiful about this architectural marvel. It still stands today. It's still operating. It has a museum, a cigar museum, as you guys can see here, a factory store, an interactive theater. It also offers rolling school where you can learn how to hand roll cigars. They offer tours and you guys can come in here. It's free. I came for free. You can pay for the tour and schedule it on their website. They have special events, right? And like I said, if you want a guided tour, you can do that as well on their website. All right, you guys, so we're heading to the second level of the museum and factory, El Reloj. Let's talk about not just the boom, but the decline of the industry. All right, so in the end, the decisive blow to the cigar and the union, the cigar industry and the union came from technology, mechanization, automation, and the changing consumer preferences. As early as 1880, continued strikes, walkouts, and the steadily rising costs of labor and tobacco leaf caused U.S. tobacco companies to invest in mechanized methods of producing cigarettes and cigars. So the first cigarette rolling machine was introduced in 1880, and while the cigar making machine first appeared in 1889. So as the demand for cigarettes increased, consumption of hand-rolled cigars declined, which directly affected the CMIU, the Cigar Makers International Union members. All right. Mechanization and unskilled cigar workers known as bunch breakers increasingly replaced skilled cigar workers after World War I. And traditional cigar making was in steep decline. An estimated 56,000 jobs were lost between 1921 and 1935. Scores of union factories went out of business while the remainder declared an open shop. By 1928, most of the union lost its influence, and the average union member was now 64 years old. All right, so leadership finally agreed to unionize machine cigar workers and permit the union label on machine finished cigars, but it was too late. The Great Depression resulted in additional industry cost cutting. So by 1933, membership had declined to 15,000 members, opposed to 1916 when they peaked at 53,000 members. And many of the members in 1933, the remaining 15,000, were unemployed. In 1931, the American Cigar Company, the only U.S.-based cigar factory still using hand rolling techniques, ceased to do manufacturing. After World War II, the consolidation of cigar manufacturing in the United States continued. Many of the remaining larger manufacturing concerns moved cigar production to Central America and South America, which only accelerated the loss of union jobs. In 1974, the remaining 2,000 members of the union voted to merge with the retail, wholesale, and department store union. All right. So that was pretty much the end of the cigar industry, right? Mechanization, automation, just like it was the Industrial Revolution, which ended up coming down to the same thing, machinery, right? And moving jobs offshore, right? Outsourcing to other countries for cheaper labor. All right. And that still continues to this day with artificial intelligence, right? AI, technology, manufacturing, machinery, and it affects us, like I said, to this day. And the world keeps turning and spinning and keeps going, and nothing is new under the sun. All right, so we're heading up to the third floor, which is the handmade cigar factory. We're going to walk into a guided tour as well, and you're going to see some of the employees at JC Newman Cigar Company rolling up handmade cigars. If you ever been down to Miami, Calle Ocho, even down on 7th Avenue in Ybor, you'll see plenty of employees and people down there hand rolling cigars all the time.
These all go downstairs, they age for about a year, and after that year's up, they come back up here to be color sorted. So Yaliek, with her bun done up in the glasses, she's a Mazagadora, she's a color sorter. So come take a look at her work here, her skills. So I will say this, guys. Have you ever been sent on a shopping trip and you get the wrong thing and you know that? So there is science behind that. Turns out women have more cones than rods in their eyes, so women are better seeing a color distinction than men are. So we're not bad at our job. We just can't see color distinction as much. Which is why when it comes to color sorting a cigar, only women do it in their cigar factory. So the jingle in English is darken to light from left to right. You want to make sure that when all 20 cigars go in the box, they're uniform, and you don't get like this guy and this guy side by side. Right? They're the same cigar and the same tobacco, but based on how they ferment and how they age, the tobacco could have taken on radically different colors. So when you give somebody a box for $300 or whatever you're going to charge for it, you want it to be uniform and beautiful, and have a nice presentation, which is why she color sorts everything that we box and sell. Yeah, she's trying to see like 17 different colors. There's a bunch of old school Spanish terms we use in the industry that don't really be used anywhere else. Like sometimes, like I don't know, this is a Castano or like a hazelnut color. This is a Colorado Maduro, right? This would be like a Claro. So you don't really use those words anymore for color sorting, but in the cigar shop we do. And then over here to our right, it's all related to the band and cellophane on. Yeah, and it's quite romantic. The American cigar box is still made in America. We have a gentleman down in Miami who makes the boxes for us in our box factory still. And the boxes for the Angel Cuesta and the Ybor Newman are the labels to the American cigars are printed by an American company, so just like it would have been 100 years ago. And the ones that are printed for the Angel Cuesta and the Newman Cigars, those are printed by a Dutch company called Ybor. Ybor has been printing cigar labels for like 250 years. So this is the same history back in the century, so it's just now, you know, obviously we have air conditioning, and the workers don't listen to somebody reading the newspaper. Yeah, they're in the pockets, they're watching TV on their phone. But yeah, back in the day, you used to have a lector. Every factory had a cigar reader. The guy would read the newspaper to entertain you. He'd also read books. That's why Monte Cristo was named Monte Cristo. It's named after the Count of Monte Cristo. But in the 30s, the owners of the factory did not like how the readers were reading.
All right, you guys, there you have it. Now, I ended up coming back. My mother-in-law was in town, so we took the family to come check out the museum. And I love this place. This is definitely one of my favorite places to visit. I love Ybor City, so you guys stay tuned. Before we leave, I'm going to go downstairs as well and purchase a few cigars for the road to take back home. And if you guys are ever in Ybor, check out this museum. It's free. The guided tour you will have to pay for if you want to know more of the history. I try to give you guys as much history as I know on the museum. But enjoy the rest of the video, guys. Remember, we're dropping more videos on Ybor City. I'll be back with you guys in a bit.
So as far as the risk profile, I find the American has the most strength, the smoothest flavor. The Asian has a very balanced with strength and flavor. And then the Cuban has the most flavor for the least strength.
All right, and that about wraps it up. If you're ever in Ybor City, check this place out. Lots of history packed into this museum. All right, and we're gonna keep rolling on the Ybor videos, so stay tuned. Now, before I left, I bought two cigars. I got the Cuesta Dominican cigars. All right, so I got the Centro Fino number 60, and I also got the Tuscany there in that aluminum tube. All right, really good cigars. If you guys seen my videos before, when I was in Miami, in Little Havana, Calle Ocho, I went to Guantanamera, a Dominican cigar bar, and got some Dominican cigars there as well. But all right, you guys, stay tuned, because we're going to continue with the Ybor City tours. We're going to hit the museums. We're going to hit the streets. We're going to hit the Colombia restaurant. I'm going to drop more history for you guys on Cigar City. I'm out.